Hi folks, and welcome back to Cancer is Curable Now. Today with our continuation of the detox program. I said I'm going to introduce all the different detox pathways and what we can do to change our toxic load and to reduce it so that our immune system can work. Now, one thing that was really outstanding, something that changed my whole perspective, was the interview with Dr. Rao in Switzerland. When we interviewed him, he explained very beautifully how every cancer was loaded with toxins, and especially different types of cancer loaded with different types of environmental toxins and heavy metals. And that really should give us a clue.
Toxicity. We looked in breast cancer. Patients who wanted to remove the lump, breast cancer lump, making a biopsy. We asked, can we have some of the tissue to make it toxicological test, not histological test. Yeah. You know, we sent the histology to the lab, and they say cancer so and so and so, this malignancy, cancer marker positive or whatever. But we also took from the same tissue toxicity, and we measured in breast cancer for mercury. When we had the breast cancer and you remove the lump in the healthy, so you always have a little bit healthy tissue around, I began to test the healthy tissue around also. And I saw cancer absorbs toxins, and these toxins probably epigenetically change the cells' genes to cancerous. The biggest difference between surrounding glands, healthy, and cancer glands was 1 to 30,000. More, higher concentration.
That's huge.
We find always breast cancer is a toxic disease. Prostate cancer is a toxic and long-term bacteria disease. Bladder cancer, always cadmium in the mucous membranes, in the cancer tissue. Intestinal cancer, we did the same thing too. Lead, arsenic, mercury in the cancer tissue. It absorbs the toxins.
Now the question would be, is it the egg first or the hen? And that's pretty much the problem that we have. Is it because cancer is such a high metabolic process that it attracts all the heavy metals into the tumor, and therefore when we take the biopsy that it's highly loaded? Or builds our body a pocket, like Dr. Gordon explains in his interview, a pocket in the fat tissue, which is then loaded with all those heavy metals, and then from there the toxic load unfolds into a cancerous state, that the cells that are in the direct proximity of that pocket start to turn cancerous, and that could be the reason for the tumor as well. So which way round, we don't know. But like Dr. Gordon explains in his video that I put underneath, when you slice a breast and you look through the whole lot, you will find several pockets where breast cancer already starts at any woman at the age of 50. And that's what they did. They actually took samples and they sliced through very thin slices to find those pockets. And that could be, like what we heard from Dr. Rao, the starting place. Now, that means detoxification is the key. It's something that needs to be ongoing, that needs to be a process that you can start with your children. And well, I wasn't a child. I was actually coming from a completely different corner. I was coming from a high toxic load. Now, when you saw my teeth as a teenager, I had full mercury. I had 3 root canal fillings. I had a crown up here because I crashed with the bike and then broke all my front teeth. So there was a crown that was palladium underneath. Then I had the implants, which was a different metal. Then I had some gold crowns, which was different, and then amalgam. I was the perfect candidate for high toxic load, cross-firing of neurons and galvanic process in my brain. And everybody was wondering why I was not really performing good at school. I couldn't concentrate. I had actually lack of or concentration problem. I think today they would have some of those super titles, you know, the ADHD and attention deficit order and whatever. I had all of that. Well, my parents even took me to a private school because they were embarrassed that everybody would know that I'm not doing well at school. So it was a serious problem. And it was from a huge overload of heavy metals. When we did my first test, it was actually kind of shocking because I had such a high mercury load and heavy metal load in my body that they said the brain was not able to think straight. Well, that's when I started. I started with a whole lot of detox, and you've seen my last one, which was the clay, which is a very common principle in Germany, and that's where I lived at that stage. So we started a heavy detox, and I was taking that edible clay, and I lost it and came back to it, but it was an ongoing part. Did a lot of Zeolite bath, but then we met Dr. Gordon, and that was about 6 years ago, something like that, when we first started. And Dr. Gordon put me onto this Zeolite spray. It's a sublingual spray, it's a nano spray, so it's extra fine particles and it's almost homeopathic-like. And what you do is you spray that into your mouth and you spray it under the tongue and you don't swallow, you keep it so that you actually absorb it through your membranes, the fine membranes, directly into the bloodstream of your body. And I do that 4 times a day, 3 times a day. Let's say it that way. I'm a very impatient person. I've always been very impatient. And I can't wait. I can't sit around and do one spray and then wait another week. You know, if I want to have results, I need to see them. And I need to feel, does it really change something for me? And that's why I've always done everything in excess and very intense. So when I got it, he said, start with 1 spray, then do 2 sprays, then build up slowly to 5 sprays or 10 sprays. And do that 2 times a day, then 3 times a day. I think I used up my first bottle in the first few days. I was spraying all the time. And by doing so, I was starting to detoxify because the agent that is in here, the Zeolite, and it's actually a whole lot more in this spray, and you'll see the list underneath in the explanation of Dr. Gordon. That's not my area of expertise. But what it did, it actually started to really flush out a lot of toxins. And I was really feeling great. It was ongoing. It happened over weeks. And I used, I think, about 5 or 6 bottles. And then Dr. Gordon said, move over to the Zeolite capsules. Now, the Zeolite capsules are actually 1 capsule, the same strength and intensity as a whole bottle of spray. So it's something you shouldn't start right away in that intensity. Now, this is a special formula which is made in a very powerful way. It's very finely graded into nanoparticles. It's mixed with rooibos and everything, and I don't like that wool. And then it's packed into capsules. Now, you're not supposed to take the capsule on its own. Always keep it dry, because when you leave that open, it actually binds with the humidity in the air and it takes out all the content. Now, I'm taking 2, as I told you. I'm an impatient person. And I took up to 6 during my heavy detox phase. Now, 6, 2 times a day, and that's how you do it. You just take those pills out, you keep it always dry and close it very fast, and it's really important that you do that because otherwise it starts to go off. And then you open them up. Now, that's a challenge with you have big fingers, but you can pull that apart, and then you fill this into your water glass. Now, there's always a little bit staying. You fill that in. I take 2. You would start certainly with 1, but as soon as you have started the process and you realize how it works, then you can go up to 2 as well. And that's with your doctor. You can do a consultation with Dr. Gordon if you get him, and he will prescribe that to you, and he will actually help you to dose that. Now, what you would do is you really dissolve that into kind of a muddy puddle, you know, pretty much like the cappuccino from last week. It looks a little bit dirtier than the other one. And then you would drink that. Now, this is a serious detox. It pulls everything out because it's absorbed very fast by the body. It will start to bind to heavy metals, to lead, to mercury. It actually reactivates with the rooibos and the vitamin C and all the ingredients that are in there, all your gut bacteria. It pulls out toxins out of your gut, and it helps you to clear up. Now, cheers. Get it all, it was a bit at the bottom. Now that's it, and it actually tastes quite nice, so it's not as bad as the clay, but it is something that will help you to pull out toxins. And I would like to clarify one issue. A lot of people think if I do one detox method, like the clay for example, then that will do everything. Well, probably not. We have so many toxins, up to 40,000, which are in our water, in our tap water, in your shower when you shower. It's everywhere. The air that you breathe, the coal burning, all of that has a huge burden. Then you have household toxins, you have sprays, you have formaldehyde from your couch, all the softeners, from your synthetic clothing, all the flame retardants and all that. It's a huge load. Now, as a cancer patient, you would clean up your life. You would not have all that. You would use water filters. You would have only organic cotton and healthy clothing. You would have different bed sheets. You wouldn't have formaldehyde fumigating and all the toxins gassing out of your mattress. All of those things you would remove one after the other. But let's just say you haven't done it all. Well, then these different detox methods will help you to get rid of the daily load, of the daily consumption, plus that which is already in. And that's why this one is in my car. I have that here beside my desk. I'm spraying that all the time. And it doesn't hurt. You know, it's something that you do, and if you build that into a routine, like the glutathione spray, to boost your immune system, this one to pull out toxins, well, it's easy. And for me, it has transformed my life. I actually really say this was my savior. I couldn't concentrate for longer than 10 minutes without going off into dreams, into la la land, not being able to listen. My teachers at school said I was a nightmare. Well, I probably was. Until I found out that detoxing the brain, taking heavy metals out, taking all those neurotoxins and endocrine disruptors and all that hormonal change out of your system will actually make you crystal clear. Now, I can run 7-day workshops in a row without fading a single minute. Smart, sharp, onto it. Now, that's an improvement, especially for me, as I love learning really, really much. It's something that has transformed my life dramatically, and it will do yours too if you do it. Now, this is actually one of the most inexpensive forms, like the clay as well, to pull out heavy metals and other toxins out of your system on a slow motion, gentle, long-term base. Now, when I was up to 6 2 times a day, I could actually feel the effects, and it was draining. I was smelling. I was really awful, you know, like those body smells in every form. It was really intense, and I was detoxifying during that time really intense. I did far infrared sauna every day or every second day. I did my clay bath. I did the zeolite. I did everything that was possible for a period of 6 to 7 months. And that was intense. I can tell you what, those 6 months changed my life forever. And I'm still now doing it to maintain and to take out all the toxic load that I'm breathing every day. All right? Have fun with the video underneath. It's with Dr. Gordon. He shares his whole passion again about the process and to help you on your journey to get well.